Welcome to Ben TV. My name is Kayode Ogundamisi. This is a special edition of Politics Today. Tonight we're going to have Governor Rotimi Amaechi in the studios, and he's going to talk about the state of the Nigerian nation and what is happening back home in Nigeria. I want to welcome our viewers from all over the world, those watching online via www.bentelevision.com, those tweeting in on Twitter and the social media. It's a perilous time in Nigeria now, but we've got to look at the positive time of event. We're going to throw the phone lines open. You can call in, and we discuss the state of the nation. And then when Governor Amaechi comes in, we throw our questions straight to him. It's going to be a no-holds-bar discussion. We have a right to know what is happening at home, the situation with the presidency and the state governor and the first lady, the state of Rivers State, the crisis in the State House of Assembly. And we would want you to join us. Make sure you have interesting moments with us on Politics Today. We will take phone calls, and we're going to let you have your say. And then I'm going to be reading your tweets. If you know the hashtag to follow is hashtag Politics Today. If you want to go on Twitter, it's at Ogundamisi, and I do assure you I'm going to be reading out your questions. And if you've got information about Rivers State, we want you to provide us with specific information on what is going on in Rivers State. If you're watching from Port Harcourt, we want you to inform us about the state of the situation in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, and what is happening in your home state. It was a big moment in Nigeria throughout last week with the protest against underage marriage and the heroic struggle of Nigerian activists on social media, even though there were lots of disagreement. But we all want the best for our country, and we believe that no matter the disagreements we might have on principle, we still feel the way forward is that Nigeria should be a democratic country where the voice of the people would rear its head, and we would progress our country. Governor Amaechi has been in London for 2 days. We've not had the opportunity to speak to him, but it was in Chatham House this morning. He had an interesting topic to speak on what he's doing in Nigeria, in his home of Rivers State. So it will be interesting to hear what he's got to say about the crisis that is going on in Rivers State. And you would all know that Amaechi is one governor that he will never. We hope he's not going to hold back on the questions we're going to put across to him. So we want you to call. The phone lines are open. If you take a closer look at the screen, you'll see the phone lines. You can call in and ask your questions. And we would definitely want you to also tweet to at Ogundamisi, and we have Dade Koka here, we have Caroline Imoesiri, we have Lucabrasi tweeting in on Politics Today. We have Caroline Imoesiri again, and Twitter is actually going above now with issues, and we've been told to ask a number of questions on throw questions to Governor Amaechi, and he's definitely going to ask the question, answer our questions. So, what do you think about the situation in Rivers State? Is it the way things should be? Do we have a way out with the event in the governor's forum, the crisis that is going through, going all over the country? And do you think President Jonathan does mean well for the country, and probably is one of the most misunderstood president? So I'm glad to actually inform you that Governor Amaechi is in the studio right now. We're going to have him pretty soon, bring him, and it's his moment. We're not going to let him parry any of our questions. I do assure you that we're going to now take a short break and try to have the governor into the studio. There's a question being asked on Twitter. Says, why do we always have to insist on change in Nigeria? And then we've got someone saying, I'm wondering how a grown man would act in a barbaric way. He's talking about the attack in the Rivers State Assembly. We've got in Keshi, we've got Abraham Kowo saying, as Governor Amaechi taking the role of Ojiuzo or Kalu, did he learn any lesson from Kalu's fate? And we've got Rebecca again asking another question. Why must there be crisis in Rivers State? Is it because of the oil in the Niger Delta? And we've got Shime Asonye. Would Governor Amaechi rank as the most effective governors? Does he plan to run for presidency in 2015? A number of intriguing questions, and we do hope to have him in the studio. He's in the studio. We're just prepping him up to join us here on Twitter, on Politics Today. We also want to comment on the Child Not Bride event taking place in Nigeria. That campaign, even though there were disagreements, it's a campaign that is actually getting more effective now. And there's this controversy about Section 22. And we're bringing Eged Odewale tomorrow on Politics Today, tomorrow to come and speak about the child campaign, the campaign about underage marriage in Nigeria. Was Yerima misunderstood? Was it a frenzy? Did we all go on a mob action just to put ourselves out there? So these are the issues we're going to be discussing tomorrow with Eged Odewale. But today is Governor Amaechi's day, and we're still expecting him. He's arrived in our studios, and we're going to bring him on as soon as possible. Again, on Twitter, it's at Ogundamisi, hashtag Politics Today. Your questions are coming in, but we're going to reserve those questions for Governor Amaechi when he comes in. And somebody says, is Grace Toba said, Amaechi is what a real Nigerian should be like. Corruption concern is saying, what is Governor Amaechi doing about Odili? And then we have is Grace Toba again saying he knows his right. Governor Amaechi knows his right. All he's doing is fight for his right. So we're happy to actually inform you that the governor is in, and we're glad to have him come straight into the studio. Governor Amaechi, you're welcome to Politics Today. It's good to have you in our studio.
Thank you very much.
How are you finding London?
Beautiful, wonderful weather.
We're going to start on a very light mode. You're a very lucky man. You're one of the few Nigerians that have the privilege of having a father, a mother that is not directly related to you. Let me put a quote across. The First Lady said, Amaechi is my son. And you have Jonah Jang saying, Amaechi is my son. You're quite lucky, isn't it?
I am.
And trouble seems to be coming from your loved ones. How are you treating and how are you reacting to that?
It's a family affair.
It's a family affair, okay. You're welcome to Politics Today, and it's live on Ben TV. There are Nigerians watching on social media. Can I ask you, are you on Twitter or Facebook?
I used to be on Twitter and Facebook. I'm not closed the account, but I'm no longer as active as I used to be before. Okay,
it's a platform where you can engage with young Nigerians, quite dynamic. They're quite critical, but they mean well for the country. Let me go straight to this question. The governor NGF election, where did it all go wrong?
Nothing went wrong. Nothing went wrong. There was an election, and we were 35. 19 voted for me, 16 voted for my father, Jang. So my father lost, and I won. And I expected that my father should accept defeat, because 16 certainly cannot be greater than 19.
But let me ask you, is it really worth it? Sticking to the chairmanship of governorship forum is giving you so much crisis. That's actually putting you in conflict with the presidency. Is it worth the crisis you're going through now?
You must know that there's what is called rights, and you must try to defend what's your right at all times. If you look at my political history, I've always tried to defend my rights. So if I sought for an elective position and my colleagues felt I was qualified to run and voted for me, I should defend that right.
How would you describe President Jonathan?
Our president is a good man.
You fought and it got 99.9% of the votes during the last election. Any regrets?
No, I have no regrets. I don't regret things easily.
Now, there is this issue about the waterfront. Why did that destruction take place?
Which of the waterfronts now?
The First Lady was quite unhappy that the Okrika people were affected by the demolition of the shanties. And of course, you did say that you're trying to rebuild the place. The
First Lady has no statutory function in the Constitution, so I won't want to respond to that question. She's not in a position to tell the state government what to do about any particular area, whether it concerns her village or concerns my village. Because it's not a statutory function, I would want to respond to that.
And also, you're one of the very few public officers that I'd actually gone above the cross to commend in terms of during my visit to Rivers State. The schools I saw were quite impressive, and I did say that they could rank amongst the schools we have here in the UK. But the criticism is that they don't spread across all the local governments.
We have it in every local government. We have it in nearly every village. That can be a criticism. The criticism we hear in Port Harcourt is not of that of performance. The criticism we hear in Port Harcourt is that of, they call inclusion. And inclusion is what my colleague in Ekiti refers to as stomach infrastructure. So you have politicians who have served as ministers, who have served as deputy speakers of deputy speaker of House of Reps, or who have served in one capacity or the other, not wanting to retire. Because the only source of livelihood in politics, Nigeria these days is politics. So if you form government, even if they opposed you, because you don't have the same ideology, so you assume that's why they opposed you, then when you come in, they collapse their own ideology into yours and want to be brought in. And what they call brought in is not the people, it's their own private interest. And that's the criticism you have in Port Harcourt. And they're so desperate, they are writing fake petitions to EFCC, they are doing everything possible to make sure you are compelled to call them to a meeting and say, okay, let's have peace, please come and join. And when they say come and join, it's to give them contracts which they will not execute. And then they will cut away the resources of the people.
There's no doubt during your first time, people actually rate Governor Amaechi as one of the governors that is performing. And there are quite a number of examples of the good things you're doing during the first time. But why did you have to buy an helicopter, or is it a private jet that has been described, and that's caused controversy in the past few, in the clash with NCA?
The aircraft has been there for a very long time. It is just that at this particular point in time, it's not NCA. The Minister of Aviation decides to carry out political vendetta. There's one thing I've not told the country, that I met with her. She came to me before the Nigerian Governors Forum election to seek for support for the president. And I told her we're not there yet. And that wasn't satisfactory. A few months after I responded to that private meeting I had with her, she impounded my plane. And I said it's political vendetta. I don't know why. I try as much as possible to avoid discussing people. Because see, matured minds won't mind what ideology you hold. Matured minds won't mind what views you express. It shouldn't, what views and what positions you hold should not affect how you govern a state.
Rivers State is a very rich state.
I'm not aware. You see, when you look at it, you must look at what you call wealth vis-a-vis the problems you have. In the past so many years, we've not had schools. The primary schools have been in the hands of the local government, and we've not had good schools. So you need to rebuild schools from the beginning, which means we had 1,300 so-called schools, and we needed to demolish all the 1,300, and we're building from afresh. What does it look? It means they're starting afresh. And when you finish that, you focus on secondary schools. We're building 24 new secondary schools. And the schools cost us 4.5 billion naira per school, and they're to take 1,000 students on campus, and they're to live 2 per room. You have apart from the hostels, you have two refectories. You have 8 laboratories and workshops. You have libraries, and then you have offices for the teachers. You have a housing complex for the teachers. Then you have a clinic and all that. So with that, we're doing 24 of those. You know that you are building afresh.
And then you went into this generating electricity.
Of course, of course.
What's the situation now? The
situation that is working. The only problem we have is that of distribution. We are generating, in fact, we are even selling our equity in the power generation. And then we're also trying to buy from the federal government. I hope they won't, because of this fight, stop us from buying it. the distribution element, which is the problem we have. So you have generation, you don't have distribution. And we're working hard to make sure that before the end of September, we're able to pay for distribution and we'll ensure that people have power.
It appears, my impression is that you're taking on a lot of revolutionary things, quote and unquote, in terms of your state almost going into what is under the federal schedule. And yet you're not known to be a great supporter of true federalism. Am I right?
What is the quarrel? The quarrel is about true federalism. We insist that federal government should do their business and allow us to do our business. It's not like a father and child relationship. It has to be a relationship in which the state is seen as a federating unit, not a situation where you must take permission for everything you need to do. And that's one of the reasons for which there is a disagreement, minor political disagreement.
And you met the president in the airport. Any move towards reconciliation?
Are we fighting? There is a political disagreement, so we can't call it.
Now, I must ask you, the River State you know now and the River State you met, what's the difference?
But you just said you came back from River State. Is it the same as the one you used to see?
I want to hear from you.
No, let's hear from you, because you see, the dancer does not say he's back. The River State you used to see before and the one you went to see recently.
In terms of schools, in terms of social welfare, in terms of healthcare, what has changed?
No, but I have to hear from you. Let me be tagging on now.
It's important that I get to know what how you've been able to.
No, but if you did tell me congratulations for what I've done, it means that you have observed some things. And if you have observed, in 60 communities, we already provided health centers. We're providing for another 70 communities, which will start commissioning by October. So you will have a total of 70 plus 60. We'll give you 130. We promise the citizens that we'll do 140 health centers or 160 health centers. Now, so if by October we'll commission another 70, we've done 130. It means that there's many 30 before we leave, right? In terms of roads, if you're drilling around Port Harcourt, you will see that we're not just working on roads, we're providing engineering solutions to roads, and that the kind of roads we are building will outlive the government, and there are roads that anybody can swear on, can drive on. The other thing to look at is the power. There's a difference between the power we met when we came, and the power generation and distribution that we are giving to the people now. There's a huge improvement. Again, is in terms of, I've told you about the health centers. In terms of hospitals, when we came, it was Breakthrough Memorial Hospital that we had only in Port Harcourt. The Niger Hospital then was almost dead. Now we have built a new hospital we call Kayode Harrison Hospital, which we've handed over to Americans to manage. We have completed the hospital inside the River State University of Science and Technology, which we're about to furnish. And we hope that by the end of the year, they will have finished furnishing and equipping them, and we'll hand over to them.
Thank you, Governor Amaechi. We've got a caller from London. Benjamin from London, good evening. This is Politics Today. We've got Governor Amaechi in the studio. Hello, Benjamin. Benjamin, if you could just reduce the volume of your TV, we'll be able to... Hello, Benjamin. Good evening. Could you go ahead with your question, please? We've got Governor Amaechi in the studio from River State.
Hello. This is Andy, not Benjamin, please. Hello? Hello? It's Andy, not Benjamin.
Okay, go ahead, Abe. Could you go ahead with your question?
Yeah, good evening, Governor. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for coming in to us to speak to us, because there has been a lot of crisis in Nigeria now, with River State in particular.
Yes.
My question will center on Nigerian Constitution. Truly, you are the Chief Executive and the Chief Security Officer, which we know constitutionally as an elected governor in River State. Do you think you are actually the Chief Security Officer, bearing in mind the structure of Nigerian security system we have in place, and you as the chairman of the Governors Forum, what do you think you have to push forward? Don't you think it is high time we begin to push forward for state police as operated in America and here as well? Because all the crises that emanated from Rivers House of Assembly is down to the issue of security. Because this, if you see...
All right, thank you. I would have to cut. Really sorry, because we've got Ade from London before Governor Amaechi would come in. Ade, would you just say, let's have Governor Amaechi react to Habe's question?
Yeah, he's right. At this point, with the way the federal government has managed the police, then I think that the solution to security, especially like states like Rivers State, is the state police. What has happened is that you have a police commissioner that was transferred from Rivers State after just serving for 9 months. And the claim is that the wife of the president transferred him. And the wife of the president has no responsibility to transfer a policeman.
So you obviously think there's a need for a state police?
Exactly. Because what happened at the State House of Assembly is the inability of the police to protect members of the assembly. And because the police has been compromised. If you watch a Vance BP screaming on TV, you will hear him say, oh, he insulted my mother, my Jesus Christ on earth. And therefore, you hear him speak to the Commissioner of Police, your boss have messing me up, your boss have messing me up, I'll call mommy now. Should police be privatized? It should be for public. Yeah. And because the police was unable to protect the citizens, I was forced to use my own security to go and rescue 27 members.
We have Eddie from Germany. Eddie, good evening. We've got Governor Amaechi in the studio. Good evening, Eddie. Go ahead with your question, please.
Good evening. His Excellency Mecca.
Mecca?
Yeah. I'm a Rivers State indigene residing here in Germany. Please, you have so far managed to defeat the gang up against their political ambitions, including a broader Rivers State gubernatorial aspirant and PDP Governors Forum and factional chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum. The zone with which praise singers and the 2015 strategies bounce on your perceived vice presidential ambition is at best before God and still mortar. A dance of shame and capable of derailing the nation's democracy. Nevertheless, you have the right to aspire to be the president, the vice president, the senate president, speaker of House of Reps, or even aspire to be the general overseer of Omega Fire Ministries International. It is only if Amaechi goes to Bayelsa, Cross River, Kogi State to aspire as governor, then someone can question whether he has lived the constitutional stipulated number of years in place of warrants a vote.
No, I have to stop you there. I really apologize. On Twitter, we've got quite a number of tweets coming in on Twitter, and obviously that's support. That's one support from Germany. And so on Twitter, I've got Stop Corruption saying that I really want to believe Governor Amaechi, but it was also part of the PDP gang up that brought President Jonathan, I meant to say, on our country. And then we have at Grace Toba saying, Amaechi, keep up the good work. I'm very proud of you. I'm a young Nigerian. And then we have Fora just commenting about you speaking about ideology. Now, on ideology, what ideological leaning do you belong? To the left, to the right, Marxist, Leninist?
I've always been a Marxist. I believe that Nigerians must rise up to their responsibilities. You know, well, the time I addressed the youth in the Future Awards, yeah, where I say that the elasticity of Nigerians to absorb everything from leadership is beyond imagination. Because there are things that leadership can do and there are things that leadership cannot do. I said that at the Future Awards. Now,
it was sorry to interrupt. It was during that Future Awards you also said revolution is impossible in Nigeria.
Because of the level of elasticity. There's a level you hit me and I must be able to respond, even if I'm a coward. But Nigerians, they absorb everything. That's the point I made there. I'm not saying that Nigerians are not capable of coming out against anybody. But I'm saying we have this habit of, oh, our Governor Amaechi is a thief, he's very corrupt. Leave him, it's 4 years. After 4 years, he will go, another government will come. When the next governor comes, he will change things. And things are not changed. So that's what I meant when I said that revolution is impossible in Nigeria because of the elasticity of Nigerians. That's exactly what I meant. Now, so when you talk about ideology, it has to be what do you believe in? What is it because I'm looking for how to enrich my pocket? Therefore, whether Governor Amaechi is to the left or to the right, I must join him. Can't you say no? Governor Amaechi is a leftist. I won't join him. I belong to the right, just like they do in America, where the Conservative Party remains the Republicans. And then the Democrats are either to the complete left or sometimes to the left to the center. But in Nigerian politics, is more of what the benefits we will get than ideology. When the gentleman talked about PDP, PDP is not necessarily a bad party. There are there are people in PDP who are very good. There are people in PDP who are also not very good. I'm not particularly saying that I'm a very good person in PDP, but there are those who are also very good in PDP.
We have Joseph from London. Hello, Joseph. Good evening. You're welcome to Politics Today. We've got Governor Amaechi in the studio. Good evening, Joseph.
Yes. I don't want to contribute to your show, basically. Just to say one or two things to congratulate Governor Amaechi in Rivers State for the job he's been doing so far. My advice basically is for the governor to stand on his ground. Our opposition should be there to see that he has discourage what he has been doing. But I will encourage him, stand on the ground, do what you are doing, give hope to the hopeless, hope to the hopeless, touch the lives of those kids who really need education. Keep on doing what you are doing. I trust you. Many people are behind your back. Don't give up. Keep on strong. The position will try to pull it down. But I encourage you, do what you are doing. I wish you the best of luck.
Joseph, you said simple disagreement. Your House of Assembly was invaded. 4 members of the House of Assembly impeached the Speaker, 4 against 30-something, which is Nigerian mathematics. That is not a simple disagreement. You would agree with me?
Well, to me, it's simple in the sense that, I tell people, why are we dealing with 2015 now when we should allow 2015 to come up when it's supposed to come up? To enable both the president and myself as governor to be able to govern. Let the president preside over the country and continue to do what he's doing, and let me as governor continue to do what I'm doing as governor of Rivers State. No, they're not interested. They're interested in either you come up now and say you don't want to run for presidency, or you come and tell us how we'll be participating in sharing of the Rivers State resources. If you listen to the interview of 2 of those prominent supporters that they have, all the interview they give is, he's not running an inclusive government. Okay, yes, he's developing the state. There are too many things he's doing. What about stomach infrastructure? So if you're doing infrastructure of roads, infrastructure of power, infrastructure of health for the poor, then consider us too, the elites, and give us stomach infrastructure. And that's not the way to go.
And the scholarship program you introduced in Rivers, quite a number of Rivers indigents, at least here in the UK. Can you put a number to the number of? We
have a total of about 1,000 students, and we graduate almost 300 every year. So when we get 300, we replace it with another 300. Now, I was glad to meet...
And they don't have to... It's not like your friends and cronies...
No, you must write an exam. It's a public exam. And I've continued to emphasize that the rich men should not send their children. They should allow the poor people to compete amongst themselves. And I was proud today. I met with them just this evening. I met with them at 4 p.m. in one of these hotels in London. And I was proud to hear that 80% of the number of persons, about 600 in the UK, are making first class. Very proud to be a Rivers man when I heard that.
Governor, we've got Bayo from London. Hello, Bayo. Good evening. You're welcome to the program. We've got Governor Rotimi Amaechi from Rivers.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
How are you, Bayo?
Yeah, I'm fine, sir. Fine, sir. Sir, the question I just want to ask, we call you our governor chairman, governor forum chairman. The other one that they say Jan is the chairman is rubbish, because we see all the votes. The question I want to ask is this. I don't want the issue of Jonathan will be like Joseph in the Bible, whereby he became power and he used the power to benefit his people alone. I don't know, maybe you have the intention as a man as well to call for sovereign national conference in Nigeria. Because you see, to me, I'm a young man, the structure we have is not productive. I won't lie to you. I'm an European, I've seen it. It's not productive at all. Our system as a Nigeria is not productive, and it doesn't give us a sense of belonging as a Nigeria. I'm telling you, the structure we have, maybe because you are a governor, you won't see it the way I'm seeing it. But if you move away from government and stay neutral and be in Europe, you will see that our structure need to be changed. Otherwise, Jonathan is there today. Before Niger Delta will be there again. It will take long time. All what they need is sovereign national conference.
Thanks. Bayo has got a point there. In the UK, the police in London are being controlled by Londoners. If you go to Hertfordshire, it's something entirely different. Why can't we have a true federal system? And why can't the governors support the call for a sovereign national conference?
No, I don't know about sovereign, because the National Assembly continues to insist that you can't call for a sovereign national conference when there's already a parliament.
Yeah.
So if whatever you want to discuss, why not pass it through the National Assembly, so that the National Assembly can discuss, handle it on your behalf. Yeah. So they are not in support of a sovereign national conference, but it will amount to, at the end of the day, stopping the functioning of the National Assembly. Is it correct to say that the structure we currently have does not serve Nigeria, the interest of Nigeria? To a great extent, I say yes. Because if we don't have federalism, Nigerians have, because they are so desperate to get federalism, they don't call it true federalism. There is federalism and there's federalism. What we are currently practicing is a unitary structure in which everything is just from the military. And we're saying, no. All of us must respect our president, who must accord him all the necessary support he needs to have to be able to preside over the country. But we think that the relationship between the state and the federal must be determined by a federal structure so that we don't have a bad situation. So I support what he's saying to a great extent, but I'm saying that we don't necessarily need to have it to, you can have it by getting the National Assembly to see the need to amend the Constitution accordingly.
Thank you. We've got Norbert from London. Hello, Norbert. Good evening.
Hello, yes. Hello, good evening.
Go ahead, Norbert.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Governor.
Good evening. How are you, Norbert?
Yes, my name is Norbert. Yes, I'm a graduate of UST, Port Harcourt. Yes, my question for you, Governor, is this. Yes, can you hear me?
Waiting for you, yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, there was a purported takeover of the functions of the River State House of Assembly by the National Assembly.
Trying to talk about the purported takeover of River State National Assembly, but we'll just take Deborah from London. Hello, Deborah.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Deborah. I can hear you. Just go ahead and Governor Amaechi is here.
All right. Hello, Governor Amaechi. Thank you for the good work you have been doing.
Thank you very much.
The problem that we have here in London is that most of us want to return home and live comfortably. And you being the governor, you as the governor, president, chairman of the Governors Forum, we want you to help us to make Nigeria good enough.
Okay, we've lost Deborah there. 1.2 million Nigerians in the UK alone and more in the diaspora, and the complaint is it's not suitable to come back home.
Well, you can only ask me about River State. I'm not the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But you see, it's work in progress. The president will be doing his best. All the governors will be doing their best. And you don't expect that all the solutions will be found at the same time. For me, I've identified 3 to 4 basic areas that we need to focus on. I believe that if we need development and people want to return to River State, we need to deal with power. Yeah. I believe that once we deal with power, then you'll be able to deal with insecurity and industrialization. But when there's power, then there's industrial development. When there's industrial development, there's employment. When there's employment, there's a reduction in insecurity. And people can freely come back to the state. And that's what we are pursuing in River State. We're pursuing power, education. Because between education and health, you've dealt with the issue of ignorance, and slightly you've dealt with the issue of poverty. And people, today when I was addressing the students and they said, oh, we have graduated, some of us with first class, and some of us have done our masters, and we need to come back home. What can you do for us to come back home? My response to them was simple. I've given you the tool you need. And the tool you need is education. That we've been able to do to wipe out ignorance.
Before we take Obina from London, I would like to ask the governor. Wike is someone you brought up more or less, you're like his political godfather. He's sort of turned against you. Is that a Frankenstein monster that is sort of dealing with you?
He can't deal with me. He can't deal with me. I don't want to discuss Nyesom Wike. I try not to discuss him. So if you can permit me not to discuss him. Okay. I say that I'm a man of character and I don't want to discuss him.
Okay, let's talk about the local government council. Why were they dissolved?
The council, I can, if I want to evade the question, I can tell you that I'm not the speaker. It's not the government that dissolved the council.
But I trust you're going to want to answer that.
No, yes, but it's not the government that dissolved the council. When I sought that explanation from the speaker, he said they were investigating the council for corruption. They were alleging that money paid by Shell, Ajib and others were paid into private accounts, and all of them would come together and share the money and all that. And there was a need for all the members of council to step aside for proper investigation. And well, that was what they did. So if you feel aggrieved, the next place to go to is court. Okay. They went to court, and then instead of them getting this in, there was an order of court that they should vacate, police should vacate the council secretariat. Up till now, the police has refused to obey the order.
Wow. We've got Obina from London. Hello, Obina. Good evening. Obina, can you turn the volume of your TV down, please?
Okay. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, go ahead, Obina.
Yeah, okay. Your Excellency, you're welcome to London.
Thank you very much.
I'm not surprised the kind of obstacle we are facing. We are Nigerians who know what the elites do, because you are not part of those who believe in stealing the money, and there will be a lot of opposition against you, so we are not surprised. However, well, we are trying to encourage you to continue striving, because some of us are behind you. I want to ask one question. My question is that, who is running Nigeria today? Is it Jonathan or then Patience?
I don't know. I think the president is running the country, and he's the elected president, and he's running the country.
Okay, before thank you. Before I take Bode from London on Twitter, we have Shime Asonye. It says, how does Governor Amaechi feel about the Nigeria diaspora vote? Do you support Nigerians in diaspora to vote?
I support that all Nigerians be allowed to vote for whatever they are. And I support that first and foremost votes must count, so that we don't put diaspora votes and people come here and change 1 million votes to 10 million votes. But I support that all Nigerians, no matter the location where you are, should be allowed to vote, because you must have a say on who becomes your president.
And then I've got Pablo Stovani. It says, please ask Governor Amaechi, is that if once you're in power, you will become rich. Is Governor Amaechi a rich man? Are you a rich man?
I'm not a rich man. I'm not. You know, I told people that I served as a speaker for 8 years, and served as a governor now for 6 years without a house. My wife has never allowed me to sleep until we passed a law that says that all former governors beginning from me will be able to, the state can provide accommodation for them. Now, why did you pass that law? Is to enable people not to be corrupt, because the state can provide for you, if you don't steal, some basic realities of life.
So we're sure that when you leave office, EFCC will not find anything?
They should come. Don't forget that EFCC sometimes is political. So, like now they're whipping up the sentiment of EFCC to go after me, to go after my government. I heard that there's a petition they put in the newspaper yesterday also, asking EFCC to go after me, saying, oh, the monorail, we have all completed the money, we have taken away the money and all that. Monorail is on, the construction is going on, will be completed next year, January, February. They want EFCC to come. And some projects they outlined there. Some of us try to live above board by God's grace. And
it's interesting you actually brought the issue of your wife, and I want to draw a parallel with the wife of Mr. President. Would you support a defined role for the role of a first lady?
No, I don't want to go into that. And I don't want you to...
But either state government, local government...
The wife of the president is certainly higher than my wife, so don't compare the two.
Okay, but would you call for a constitutional... that the constitution should be clear about the role of a first lady, whether local government, first lady...
There's no country where the first lady is given a defined role. So why do you want to be in Nigeria? I don't want to go into the issue of first ladies and not first lady. I don't want to. My wife doesn't talk to me about governance, so why do you want me to put her in the constitution?
She's not holding up traffic in Rivers State.
Please keep me away from that question.
I've got Bode from London. Bode, good evening. We've got Governor Amaechi in the studio.
Hello, Your Excellency. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. My name is Bode. I'm one of the APC coordinators here in the UK. Now, the question to you, we understand that your security personnel, members of your security personnel were actually withdrawn. Is that still the case? If yes, how is security being maintained in the government house? Thank you.
They've taken a lot of my security men out, and you know, when they did that, I screamed that I hope they're not after me. My ADC, my CSO, and all that. Then the soldiers have been withdrawn. All that is to intimidate me. I will stand my ground on issues that benefit the country and Rivers State. I will not change that.
We've got Tunji from London. Tunji, good evening. Hello, Tunji. Good evening. Okay, we've lost Tunji. There is one issue that I actually find brave on your part. You're from the Niger Delta. You opposed amnesty for Niger Delta militants. And that was a brave move. Why did you think they didn't deserve to be?
I don't know what you mean by brave. It's about law and order. I said, listen, if you break the law, be punished for breaking the law. Let us all know that we're equal before the law. So if I commit an offense, I should be prosecuted for committing an offense. Nobody should be given an amnesty without being found guilty. The principle of amnesty in the first place is that you've been tried by a law court and found guilty of an offense. Then the president can forgive you if it's a federal offense. If it's a state offense, the state government can then forgive you. But when there is no offense whatsoever, nobody has been found guilty, and the amnesty is granted, and funds are released for training, for all this and that, I said, no, if you want to run a social welfare program, say, I want to run a social welfare program. And the problem you have there is what I predicted. I made two predictions. First and foremost, that the youths will ask a question. Do I need to commit crime before the state will pay me and train me in the university or train me to be a pilot or something, which means you're encouraging crime. The second thing I predicted to President Yar'Adua on that day was that the moment you start paying amnesty to Niger Delta youths, nothing will stop the Arewa youths in whatever guise or form to also ask for their own amnesty because they need the money. Nothing will stop OPC youths for also asking for their own money because they also need the money. Nothing will stop MASOB, the Igbos, from asking. So generally, everybody will ask because it's like the social welfare program. Instead of doing that, discipline those who have broken the law and let's move on from there and fight poverty, because if you fight poverty, then you won't have crime. So
what would be the way forward in terms of insecurity, like Boko Haram in northern Nigeria and kidnappings in some parts of the south?
If you don't deal with poverty, it's a waste of time.
So you definitely believe poverty is one of the main...
Of course, what else? I usually tell this joke, if all of us are working in Shell, will you have time to go and kidnap somebody?
Did you, that's a question on Twitter, it says, are you into any political pact with either the presidency or any godfather before going into politics?
No. Just between me and my God. I believe in God and I hold on to God for everything I want to do. So once I go to God in prayers and God says move on, I move on.
At Negusta, I said I should ask Governor Amaechi, do you want to be vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Is there an election today?
Okay, so what's the situation with the oil wells? You know, in Bayelsa, there's a lot of sort of degradation in the Niger Delta, spillage.
The oil wells that belong to River Sepal, the Soku oil wells, are still in the hands of Bayelsa. And we have told the federal government that it will not be fair that the oil wells that are found in the Kalabari land are taken to Bayelsa. It's exactly not fair, and we think that the right thing to do give it back to River State. That is important. But to take oil wells that are called Soku oil wells and hand over to Bayelsa, until I leave office, I'll continue to oppose that. So
you strongly believe the oil well belongs to River
State? I don't believe I know. Don't forget Bayelsa and Rivers were one state before. Don't forget that until 2006 or 7 or 8, those oil wells were paid to River State.
So could this also be a crisis of resource control?
Of course. That's one of the reasons. So I will insist, and I continue to insist, that those oil wells belong to River State.
So you're defending the interest of your people?
What would be the reason for disagreement? It's only because you defend the interest of River State.
I've got Okechukwu on the line. Okechukwu, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, go ahead. We've got Governor Amaechi in the studio. Please go ahead with your question.
Hi, I'm a young Nigerian youth, and I was wondering, why is in the Nigerian constitution you have age restriction as to when you can get into office? When we have directors that are very young in the world and we're doing amazing things, Mike Zuckerberg, for example, excessive ageism in Nigerian politics. Would you want to sponsor a bill in the House where we can lower the ages to young getting into politics and empower the youth? I'm tired of hearing empowerment and the youth are not being empowered.
Okay, Shuku, thank you. What he was saying is that why don't we have an age limit in the Nigerian constitution, barring people from certain age from contesting either presidency, government?
Okay, to me, must be frustrated Nigeria. By right, he's not supposed to buy anybody from contesting till he dies once he qualifies for the age limit. But why he's saying that is because some people have served and no changes, and they want to come back because they are broke. So he's wondering why we shouldn't stop those people. The way to stop those people is by votes. First and foremost, what Okechukwu should be asking is that our votes must count. Once our votes count, then the bad leaders are thrown out.
It is also interesting that these days you're surrounded by opposition governors in the APC. Are you considering decamping to the APC?
Is Niger State Governor opposition? Is Jigawa State Governor opposition? Is Kano State Governor opposition? Is Adamawa State Governor opposition? Is Kwara State Governor opposition?
So the allegation by the PDP that you're romancing with the opposition.
They're looking for an excuse. People just want to sit on.
We still have Governor Amaechi.
Don't forget that I'm the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum. So I will meet with the PDP governors, I will meet with the opposition governors, and not necessarily mean that you move to another party.
You supported the removal of oil subsidy, didn't you?
Yes.
And do you still stand by that?
Yes, because of the level of corruption in oil subsidy. Whatever we can do to subsidize the poor, I support. But you see, you cannot continue to subsidize the poor in the name of, subsidize the rich in the name of oil subsidy.
But that is the only benefit that poor Nigerians can.
Did you hear how many trillions of naira that was missing in the name of oil subsidy? Did it get to the poor? That's the point. That the kind of money they are calling is enough to fund our budget the next year.
Okay, Governor, I've got Praise from Nigeria. Good evening, Praise. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Praise, go ahead.
Good evening, Governor.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. I really appreciate your courage, and I pray God actually protects you. But I just have one question from you, sir. What's your take about the fact that your aide camp involved in the beating of an honorable member? What's your take on that, sir? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I hope you're watching. The aide camp did not just start beating up somebody. The gentleman, I was standing there, and I don't know who actually did that video recording. He completely eliminated me. I was standing right there by my ADC. And the gentleman said, "See, Governor, shoot him, shoot him." And then was advancing towards me when my ADC and my CSO tried to bring him down, not to harm me.
You must have been going through a lot in the past.
Honestly.
How do you feel?
Well, I feel great. We must, as a politician, as a leader, you must face challenges. Once I go to God in prayers, I just go to sleep.
I've got Nabuike from London. Hello, Nabuike. Hello, Nabuike. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, go ahead with your question, please.
Yes, Governor. Please, there is this issue about the salaries of public office holders in Nigeria. Please, I would like you to tell us how much you earn every month, which includes the allowances. Secondly, I would also want to know how much is their security vote every month. And thirdly, this issue of private jets, all the politicians in Nigeria getting private jets. I learned the president has about 8.
8 what?
And 8 private jets. And the governors, including yourself, also have a private jet in a poor country like Nigeria. I want to know why you really need private jets in your state, to run your state. Thank you. These are my questions.
Private jet, as chairman of Governors Forum, you are going to travel here and there to pursue the interests of our state government and the general interests of the Governors Forum. You're bound to travel around. We had a private jet. All I did was make sure we sold it and then added money to buy new private jet. I don't believe that the president has 8 private jets. We must be careful of the kind of rumors we carry. I know that, yes, they have a fleet, but I don't think it's up to 8. And don't forget that the president is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And countries like Ghana have private jets. Why shouldn't the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria also have a private jet? It is to enable the president to go about his business. If he needs to go to Ivory Coast and come back tomorrow, then he should be able to transport himself without waiting for public planes or transportation. I think that's
well, I've got Fabons there says Governor Amaechi seems to be very well loved by Nigerians. I've got someone who disagrees, who does not think Nigerians love you. But
why did the person say Nigerians don't love me?
I want to, you just said I disagree, Nigerians don't love it's been 50-50, you've got quite a number of support on the social media. And then I've got someone who says, why were you in the UK? Is it a PR stunt on your part?
If the gentleman knows me, knows that I'm not one who goes for PR. I say my mind, I make sure I'm honest, and I move on. I don't bother about what my image looks like. But I bother about how the people feel. I didn't come here because, in fact, if you get to Hard Talk, they will tell you that they've been trying to catch me since 2007. Yeah. They have been trying to bring me to Hard Talk, and I've been very evasive. Now, it got to a point where I then promised that I would come. I gave them a date, I cancelled, and then put the date back on and said I'll come back on that date. And I came, and I had a hard-talk interview. Yeah. It's not a PR stunt. What am I looking for?
To round up, any regrets? Sure.
Not yet.
Okay, we really want to thank you for coming to the studios to speak to Nigerians, and we also want to say we want you to go back on the social media and engage with Nigerians. Thank you, Governor Amaechi, for coming to the studio.
Thank you very much.
That's the end of today's program. Tomorrow we'll have Eged Odewale to discuss the child underage marriage issue. We want to thank Governor Amaechi for coming to the studio. For those on Twitter, see you tomorrow. Thank you.